So the first thing we're going to do is to fetch all the information first. Then we now apply the right join. To do that, we say select. The supplier ID was the first thing that was asked. The second thing was supplier name. The third thing was the minimum unit price. Then the maximum unit price. The last but not the least, they asked us what? The sum unit price. Okay. Now, because this guy is in supplier table, this one is also in supplier table. So the first thing I will do now, just say what? I will say from supplier. Okay. Then I can see that this one is suppliers, suppliers, suppliers. So I will say right join suppliers. Because that is where the prices are. On one ground, or the ground that this is equals to supply. This supplier is what we have. Let me do is select this from. Okay, if I run this last one, you see that what? This supply is the ID that is equal to this one in supplier. This is supply. So we're going to do it like this. We can't achieve anything unless we group by. We have to group by supplier. If we group by this supplier ID, that is this ID, you agree with me that this ID is in suppliers table. But this still we are grouping. Let me show you again. If I run this, let me just remove this for now. Later I'll come back there. If I run this, you find that this supply ID is here, okay, but there is no price following it. So if you are going to group by supply ID, we will not have the result. But because if we put suppliers here now, let's run this now, you find out what? The prices are here. So the best way to group this thing is either we use this supplier or we use item. But we already have supplier here. Let's use this one to do the grouping because they are together. The price we are finding the aggregates is together with this supplier. So must use group by supplier. You put S here. This is what? Suppliers. Let's run it now. Yeah. This is it. Okay. You click this. See? It's the same thing with what? With the expected result. Now let me explain something before we continue. Look at this now. If you want to enjoy this exercise, please go back and check the topic on right join, left join, and inner join. You see, I use this one first before I use this. That is the reason why I'm having the right result. This is right join. Who is the king now? This is the king because if you look at this expression, let's take this expression. This is at the right because it says suppliers, right, join with what? Supplies. Okay, this supply is at the right, so the right of the join, right hand side, the right hand side, this is the left, so this is the king. That is the reason why this is working for us. Let me run it again. You see, it's working. Now what I will do now is I will move this guy to this place. I will copy this and return it here. Let me swap now. When I swap, I can't have that same result. See, there's error here. Why? Because it's not different. What I'm telling the system now is that this guy, supplier, is not the king. Why this one what? Is a slave. You know my terms I used when I was explaining the topic of right join, left join. And you will agree with me that the reason why it's not working now is because if actually this now is the king, therefore it should have this unit price, unit price, unit price. It should. Because if you are the king, this aggregate, you should have them. because they are very important. That's what we are going to group by. So now let me go back here now. Let me select this from supplier. Suppliers, the one you are making the king. Let's see. See, it doesn't have the prices, so it can't be the king. The king must be what? Must be the person that has especially this aggregate function, because we are going to use what? Group by. Okay, I've said this. Let me go further. The only way you can do it like this, if you want to make this one to be here before this guy, say left. See, left join. Why left join? Because in left join, if I copy this, for instance, I dropped it here. This is left of this join, and this is right of the join. So that means this one is the king, because it's not the left, and the king has all the information. You see, if I select this from the king, which is supplies, you will see that it has what? Let me remove this first. You see, it has the price. Anytime you make this one the king, you are at the right side. But if you make this one the slave, you are on the wrong side of this join. Okay, now if I put here now left join, you will see we still have the same what? Result. See? Remember it was right before, see? So both right have been done, left is now used now. If you swap this now, for instance, you put this here, and you take this one and put here, you are making a big mistake. Another error. See? Because you are now making this guy who? The slave of this king, because it's left join. The left has preference over the right. That is the meaning of this. But the joy is that if you don't want to go through this battle of knowing what is this, what is that, or who is the king, who is the slave, whatever, using my terms, use inner join. Inner join does not care. Once I drop this, it will give me the same result. If I reverse it, I put this one here, I move this, I put here, it doesn't matter. Both way. See, same thing. Hope you understand this explanation. Okay, we have succeeded now with right join, left join, and inner join. But what if you don't want to use any of the join? If you don't want to use any of the join, remove this. I put select everything from this. Where what? This is equals to this. This one is perfect like this. If you run this, you see how what? The same result. Okay? Remember the other ones we did? We had what? Same result. Same result. Okay? Hope this was informative. Thank you for viewing.